Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. Once you label me, you negate me. Life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced. Prayer does not change God, but it changes him who prays. People demand freedom of speech as a compensation for the freedom of thought which they seldom use. I see it all perfectly. There are two possible situations. One can either do this or that. My honest opinion and my friendly advice is this: do it or do not do it. You will regret both. Don't forget to love yourself. To dare is to lose one's footing momentarily. Not to dare is to lose oneself. The highest and most beautiful things in life are not to be heard about, nor read about, nor seen, but, if one will, are to be lived. Our life always expresses the result of our dominant thoughts. What is a poet? An unhappy person who conceals profound anguish in his heart but whose lips are so formed that as sighs and cries pass over them they sound like beautiful music. The tyrant dies and his rule is over. The martyr dies and his rule begins. Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. Face the facts of being what you are, for that is what changes what you are. The function of prayer is not to influence God, but rather to change the nature of the one who prays. Patience is necessary, and one cannot reap immediately where one has sown. Be that self which one truly is. A man who is a physical being is always turned toward the outside, thinking that his happiness lies outside him, finally turns inward and discovers that the source is within him. Love is all, it gives all, and it takes all. Faith is the highest passion in a human being. Many in every generation may not come that far, but none comes further. Most men pursue pleasure with such breathless haste that they hurry past it. Boredom is the root of all evil, the despairing refusal to be oneself. Old age realizes the dreams of youth. Look at Dean Swift. In his youth he built an asylum for the insane. In his old age he was himself an inmate. Marriage brings one into fatal connection with custom and tradition, and traditions and customs are like the wind and weather, altogether incalculable. The paradox is really the pathos of intellectual life, and just as only great souls are exposed to passions, it is only the great thinker who is exposed to what I call paradoxes, which are nothing else than grandiose thoughts in embryo. Listen to the cry of the woman in labor at the hour of giving birth, look at the dying man's struggle at his last extremity, and then tell me whether something that begins and ends thus could be intended for enjoyment. People understand me so poorly that they don't even understand my complaint about them not understanding me. Trouble is the common denominator of living. It is the great equalizer. Personality is only ripe when a man has made the truth his own. Since boredom advances and boredom is the root of all evil, no wonder, then, that the world goes backwards, that evil spreads. The truth is a snare, you cannot have it, without being caught. You cannot have the truth in such a way that you catch it, but only in such a way that it catches you. How absurd men are! They never use the liberties they have, they demand those they do not have. They have freedom of thought, they demand freedom of speech. Purity of heart is to will one thing. It belongs to the imperfection of everything human that man can only attain his desire by passing through its opposite.